Hey guys, long time no see. I can't believe it's been damn near 2 weeks since I last uploaded, but hey, time flies when you don't have to post daily. But we're back, and here we are with my video on the strongest units in every single anime tower defense game on Roblox. I spent a lot of time making this video, so I hope you guys enjoy it, and let's get started. We will be setting some ground rules before I get into this video. Number one, when I mean the strongest unit in every single game, I do try to take into account things more than just their raw damage numbers, because I know that unit abilities and passives do come into play for a lot of these units. So if you see a unit that's not necessarily the biggest damage number in the game, rest assured that I still think they're better despite that fact because of X ability or Y passive, and I'm gonna explain that later in the video. Also, I'm not doing quite literally every single anime tower defense game that's ever come out on Roblox, because you're crazy if you think I'm gonna be researching the 14th anime power RNG slot machine Pets Go Grow a Garden defense that's on the platform. I'm not doing all that. I picked 9 games, which I think is a pretty good chunk of the relevant anime tower defense games that are on Roblox, and I was being pretty lenient because some of these games aren't that relevant anymore, but I think with 9 games that gives us more than enough content for a full video and enough for me to put every single game in the title. So without any further ado, we're going to start it off with one of the OGs, All-Star Tower Defense. All-Star Tower Defense has been out for quite a long time and experienced a lot of different metas with units as updates have went and passed by, but I think the strongest unit in the game currently is Sukuna, or the strongest in history, whatever you want to call him. He's doing a lot of damage, like 450 million plus damage with every single hit once he's maxed out, and he's doing all his little status effects. Mob does have a 9 billion damage nuke. I'm still going to give it to Sukuna though, just because I'm 99% sure that he is the best unit in the game, and at the time that I'm making this video, the devs haven't updated the game in about 9 months, probably more than that, about a year give or take, most likely due to the fact that they are working on ASTDX, but God knows when that's dropping. And who better to get background footage for this segment of the video if not one of the premier ASTD YouTubers, Blamspot. I wasn't around for All-Star Tower Defense. I wasn't really making videos or playing these types of games, but I'm pretty sure this was the ASTD guy. Like, everybody who played ASTD definitely watched him at some point. So, I had to put him in the video. But, yeah, that's it for ASTD. Pretty sure Sukuna is the strongest. And if I am mistaken, or if there's any sort of miscalculation on my end, feel free to let me know in the comments. But for now, that's going to wrap up ASTD, and let's keep going. Next game on the list is another well-known staple of the TD genre, although I can't really say if it's as loved as it once was, and that is going to be Anime Adventures. Before I get into the actual description of what the best unit is in the game, I do want to briefly touch up on some of the remodels that have happened since the last time that I covered Anime Adventures on the channel, and there's not much more for me to say besides the fact that it's just cooked. Like, every single time they remodel, it just gets progressively worse and worse. They just add more fuel to the flame for the people who make fun of the game already, and not much that we can do, not much that you and I can do. It's basically dead and buried. That game has less players than Anime Defenders at this point, so I think it's just time to hang up the towel. I don't really see many people trying to defend the game anymore. Even if you go into their Discord, it's kind of just like the very, very last bits of people who are still playing the game. Like, even they have accepted the game as dead. Like, even the most diehard fans are well aware that this game is 99.999% chance that it never comes back. I'm not going to say 100%, just in case there is some sort of dystopian future reality where they make a comeback. Do I think that's ever going to happen? No. But, hey, nothing's impossible, I guess. I don't really know if there are any content creators covering the game either. Last I remember, one of the last lone soldiers covering that game was this dude called Dio Grinds, who was live streaming it daily. I don't even know if he's still making videos on the game. I wouldn't be surprised if he stopped. But I remember he was one of the last ones left fighting the good fight. Or should I say, just the fight. Because they definitely lost it. But yeah, let's get into the actual game footage. Aizen is without a shadow of the doubt the best unit in Anime Adventures. I call him Aizen. You can also call him by his endgame name, Illusion is Transcended. And he is one of the best units, well, the best unit in the game. and most people will never get him and probably won't bother to get him anymore since the game's dead and buried. But he does have a passive ability called Shattered, like he can apply Shattered on enemies, which just makes them one tap. He also has an active ability that stuns all the enemies on the map for 5 seconds. He does insane damage, he's fully AoE, he is hybrid, so literally he's just the best at everything. I am a little bit miffed that they locked the best unit behind the entire game, behind what's basically a very, very RNG pay-to-win system, which was the capsules. Really, the only people that even had the smallest semblance of a chance of obtaining this guy were the people who were botting the game on multiple accounts, or the people who were macroing. But the people who were macroing the event, their chances were still exponentially lower than the dudes who were running it like on multiple bot accounts at once. Those were the real people that got eyes in. Everyone else had to get extremely lucky, even the people that were macroing. And I really dislike that game design choice on Anime Adventure's end, just because you're locking the best unit in the game, who is gonna be required for a lot of leaderboard things and yada yada, behind a very, very shitty system. But it doesn't matter because no one's playing leaderboards anyway, no one's doing anything. The game's, yeah, RIP Anime Adventures, but background footage courtesy of Vanilla. Shout out Vanilla, great guy, and let's keep it going. Although it's definitely sad to see a once beloved game fall into obscurity, you know what isn't sad? The sponsor of today's video. Big thanks to Tokyo Treat for sponsoring the video and giving me a box of their snacks to share with you guys today. Alright guys, so I decided to record the sponsor video on my phone since the camera quality is exponentially better than it is on my webcam. Here's the box. And I am going to unseal it on camera, but I'm not going to show that because my address is at the bottom of this box. Oh, something just fell. Look at all these beautiful items that I'm going to get to try. Ooh, and you know, each one of them pertains to what's actually inside of the box. Is that Miku? I try out the fucking Kit Kats, bro. Every single month they have like a little special Kit Kat flavor. Last time it was matcha, I'm pretty sure. So now it's cookies and cream. Okay. Try it out. You know, I'm always excited for free food. Oh my god, that's good. That is really good. Kirby candy, because it has Kirby on it. I'm sure it's gonna taste good. Like little balls. I don't know if you can see that in there. We're gonna try some of these balls. It kind of tastes like a better version of Skittles. Tokyo Treat is a fun and exclusive monthly snack box packed with Japan's coolest and craziest treats. Each month you'll get a rare Kit Kat flavor, limited edition chips, noodles, and the latest treats from Japan straight to you. Each box includes a cultural booklet featuring snack descriptions, allergen information, and fun insights about Japanese culture. Experience Japan from the comfort of your own home through Tokyo Treat. And make sure to use my code PERRYFC. The link will be in the description and in the pinned comment for $5 off your first box. Thank you, Tokyo Treat, for sponsoring today's video. Up next, we have the current most popular anime tower defense game on Roblox, Anime Last Stand. And this one was a little bit tricky to do just because I personally don't grind ALS that much. I mean, I get the godlies every now and then, but I'm not super deep into the intricacies of what's the most meta at what time, especially considering the fact that this game updates so frequently that your meta unit becomes obsolete within like a week or two after you obtain it. But most of the units in this game are pretty busted. That's a given. Out of all of them, I had to go to the Discord server to ask for some help and ask my fellow ALS players who are more experienced than I am what unit is exactly the best. And the group consensus came to Gilgamesh. The Gilgamesh Godly seems to be the best unit in Anime Last Stand. Currently ranking as the strongest Godly in the game, Gilgamesh not only does insane damage, but he also has a fuck ton of passives like his Heavenly Treasures, his King of Heroes and Noble Special passives, as well as his manual abilities, which are just extremely high damage nukes. And to be the strongest unit in Anime Last Stand, where every other unit is just insanely overpowered and tuned up to the max, is a pretty impressive feat in and of itself. And that is who we're going to give the strongest unit to for Anime Last Stand. Let's keep it going. Oh, anime defenders, where do I even begin? We could make an entire separate video talking about this game, but I think I've already made more than 10 of those, so we'll not beat a dead horse into the ground. Most people will say this game is irrelevant, which it definitely is in the grand scheme of Roblox games, but you gotta keep in mind that this game has more players than Anime Adventures and Anime Royale combined, which is, you know, pretty big testament as to how loyal the community for this game is and how badly both of those other two games fell off. But with all that out of the way, the best unit in the game is editor, put the next segment. Best unit in the game, hands down, goes to none other than Celestial Tyrant, which is the only ever ancient rarity unit in the game, and you get him, I'm pretty sure he's from the banner, he's like a super duper low drop chance to get, but he's hybrid. He's doing the most damage in the game. He has like really strong abilities. He has Heavenly Freeze, which is just his time stop. In terms of anime defenders units, this guy stands at the top, with really the only unit coming close to how good he is being Dragon Mage. But even that, I'd still argue that Celestial Tyrant is the best unit in the game. And it makes sense, he is the highest rarity unit. He was also added in the last ever update this game received, because Anime Defenders is definitely abandoned by now, but yeah, he takes the cake as the strongest unit in Anime Defenders, and let's keep things going. Next up on the list is Universal Tower Defense, and I kid you not, this is the first time that I've ever heard about this game as I was researching it for this video. It definitely has some players, but it's not really knocking on the doors of ALS or anything like that. And let's get into the best unit in the game. The strongest unit in Universal Tower Defense is Aizen, more specifically his monster form, which is doing some absolutely insane damage numbers. I'll cut the footage in this video so it shows him when he's like fully maxed and amped up, and correct me if I'm wrong, he is doing the absolute highest damage in the game, and I will be giving him the strongest unit title for Universal Tower Defense. Is this my favorite tower defense game ever? No, but it's there. It's an anime tower defense game, and I would definitely rank it above some of the RNG slop anime tower defense games that have come out. So yeah, let's move on. Anime World Tower Defense is definitely one of the more underrated games on this list, and the people who are fans of this game are fans of this game. I mean, die-hard fans. And since I don't play it much, I went over to the Discord to ask some questions as to which unit is the best in the game. And shout out the AWT Discord, super helpful, kind dudes that were able to point me in the direction as to which unit was the best. And I will say the one that I'm going to be talking about is technically the best for infinites and not really progressives, but you know, I see big number, I like it, so let's just keep going. The strongest unit in Anime World Tower Defense is gonna go to Aizen, more specifically his final form where he gets super duper ramped up in damage. He is incredibly strong. I will say, once again, probably not the ideal progressive mode unit, because he does take a good amount of time and money to get into his final state, but I digress. I still think he's gonna serve as the strongest, best unit within the entirety of the game. But I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me and say that X or Y unit is better. So that's that. That's all that I have to say for Anime World Tower Defense. Underrated game though. Even though I'm not super duper into it, I can definitely see why it has such a die-hard community. So let's keep going. Obviously, I can't make a video about anime tower defense games without talking about anime Vanguards. It'd be stupid not to. So here we are. Anime Vanguards is going to make it onto the list because it is a very relevant and prominent anime tower defense game, despite the fact that it's not in the greatest shape that it's ever been. Update 6 definitely gave them a little bit of a hit in the old player count department, and I imagine a good old hit to the revenue as well, since they're not really popping as much as they were back, I'd say, like update 5 definitely had a lot more players than update 6 did. To their credit, it was a more experimental update, I guess, but they said that they're going to stick to mainstream stuff for the time being, and yeah, I hope so. I really hope so. Anyways, let's get into what I think the strongest unit in the game is. The strongest unit in Anime Vanguards, which I'm pretty sure most people saw this coming, is Vanguard Sung Jin-woo, with his summons and his nukes. Easily the best unit inside of the entire game. He just has the best passives. has the most utility and is pretty universally well known as the best unit in the game. Albeit for a brief moment, Elfelt, which was one of the new secrets that came out in Update 6, was the best unit in the game, doing more damage than Sung Jin Woo, but then she got nerfed. I'm not going to say she got nerfed into the ground, but she's definitely not as good as she used to be. So the title goes back to Sung Jin Woo, which is kind of crazy. This guy's been out for a couple updates now, and he still reigns supreme as the strongest, best unit in the game. Because in anime Vanguards, it's not really purely about damage numbers. Passives take a pretty fat percentage of what makes a unit good or not. And this dude's summons, plus his nuke, plus the fact that he's immune to status ailments, it's just, you know, they all culminate together to make him the best unit in the game. And that is going to be the anime Vanguard segment. Let's keep it going. We're nearing the end of our list, and next up is Anime Fantasy Re. Now, I'm not too well versed in this game, but I did hear that it had like a re-release because the first release didn't go as planned or something. I'm not sure, but you know, I never touched this game until I started making the video on it, and the wiki was not very helpful. Pretty outdated wiki with not much work done on it, but after a little bit of research, I came to the conclusion that the best unit in the game is none other than Ishtar. Ishtar is most likely the best unit in this game just because of her damage, and she is also the only fantasy rarity unit in the entire game. And it's kind of like an anime Defenders thing where the highest rarity unit in the game, there only exists one of them. Logically, they'd be the best, and I'm pretty sure the same logic applies to Ishtar here. And that's all I have to say about Anime Fantasy Re. Let's move on to our final game. Last but certainly not least, the final game that we will be mentioning in today's video is Anime Royale. And the wiki was some hot ass, absolutely unhelpful in actually finding out what the best unit was. I don't know if it's because of how outdated or if no one's working on it, but I did not have a good time trying to use that wiki. Thankfully, the Discord server did come to my rescue. Shout out the Anime Royale Discord server, because I met some incredibly helpful people that were able to point me in the right direction. And let's get into what the actual best unit in this game is. It's going to be Sung Jin Woo. There's a pretty common trend among anime tower defense games with the best unit being Sung Jin Woo, and this one is no different. So that wraps it up for Anime Royale, and let's move on to the conclusion of the video. We are finally done with the strongest unit in every single anime tower defense game. And with that being said, we are going to wrap up this video. I'll end it off by saying this: it definitely took me a lot longer to make than my usual uploads. There was more editing involved, but I had fun making it, and expect more videos of this quality in the future. I'll probably make a poll going over what video I should do next, but for now, that's it from me. Have a great day or night wherever you are. Stay tuned for more content. Let me know in the comments if I was wrong about any of these strongest units that I talked about in this video, and that's it from me. We will catch you in the next one.